Hello everyone, this is Dr. John Makoff here. Today I want to talk to you about a concept called neurorecognition. Now, neurorecognition, the first time I heard this, the first time I learned about this was during a technique course that I trained in quite a bit called quantum neurology, and it was developed by Dr. George Gonzalez, which was is a pretty brilliant technique. Now, but this concept applies to so many things, physically, physiologically, emotionally, biochemically, with viruses, microbes, everything. So I thought it'd be very important to go over this for an understanding for a healing process. Now, neurorecognition is basically if your body can't see it, it can't heal it. And one of the ways the body sees neurologically is through the sensory system. Now, the sensory system is basically pain, be able to perceive pain, light touch, deep pressure, compression, pressure, temperature, vibration. Proprioception is like how your body moves, where it is in space, as well as form recognition. And form recognition is your body be able to perceive, your sensory system be able to perceive from auditorily or visually, seeing objects, shapes, colors, identities of various sorts, and to be able to identify them, as well as on your skin, be able to identify shapes, touch of various sorts, textures, textiles, as well as internally being able to identify various things, even like microbes and various things like that. And I think as well, from my perspective, it can act in a functional thing of seeing the form of interactions and the form of how things relate in relationship to each other, and to be able to identify those as well, which I think is extremely important. But so with that in mind, like physically, if you have a trauma and have scars, that takes out some of the sensory system. You have to investigate which parts of the sensory system it takes out. But for those scars to heal, your body really needs to see them. And that can also go to emotional scars. But let's start with the physical first. So if it's light touch, deep pain, your body needs a stimulation to be able to get the nervous system knowing something's going on while you try to stimulate it. And I use muscle testing or frequency testing to get the field aware that something's happening until it identifies. And we can use muscle testing to see where that shift happens. We can also go through if there is some other damage that your body doesn't respond to temperature well, heat or cold or both. Now, so if your body has a temperature injury, well, it may not respond well to ice or heat because that may be an irritant to the system, because the body may not perceive it as helpful because it can't interpret what it's supposed to do with that. Also, vibration. If you have, say you like step off the curb abruptly and you have a impact into your spine or your hip, if your body can't now interpret vibration, then the joints don't know what to do with every step that the vibration comes up into the body. So you might start to have certain arthritic changes as you go on. See it a lot in athletes, see it a lot in different sports, but also the general person. It happens to a lot of different aspects. And to be able to get the body to bring awareness to it, then it can adapt to the vibration again, and then it can sort of help with some of the healing process, or at least waking up the system, so it can respond to certain exercises correctly, other therapies correctly. So we can go through that through every single sensory sense, as well as how it layers. Now we can also apply it to various microbes and heavy metals and chemicals and stuff, using certain radionics vials that I use with a Leibowitz technique. You can start to analyze what maybe hidden infections are going on, just as not a Western medicine diagnostic tool, but it's a great indicator, and it really holds true. And then we can find the herbs that help combat or help the system strengthen to whatever's found. So that's another aspect of neurorecognition in its own way. Then we can also have emotional stuff where if you have stuck emotions in your body, you can start to feel chills, you can start to feel discomfort, irritation, anxiousness, you can feel some anger, frustration, you can feel fear just because you don't know how to identify what's stuck, and it can make that anxious feeling or chaotic feeling trying to figure out what it is, and you may just feel the physiological aspects of it. But once we identify it is an emotional aspect, and then we figure out where it's coming from, whether it's layered or just even just identifying the emotion itself sometimes or the origin itself sometimes, can start to relieve the system and bring a certain lesson sometimes. So it depends on the situation, but just to give you a hint, that is another sense of recognition that the body needs to start the healing process. So that maybe affects how we get triggered. You know, that anger or irritation or assault we feel or violation we feel from getting triggered, well, that's usually from a previous trauma, wound from when we were growing up, or a certain event. And bringing awareness to it to help it process and allow our mind to recognize that there is something to process. Because if we tell our mind, even if we've worked with something with a therapist or a various type of practitioners, health practitioners, or our own, and we say, oh, I've given it a lot of attention, and so I have nothing more to learn from it, I have nothing more to heal from it. Well, we tell our brain that there's nothing more to heal from it, so we're telling our brain not to even look there, so it doesn't know even to recognize anything that may be a little nuance we missed. So that process keeps going on and builds up to create other processes down the road. You know, ignoring and thinking things are going to go away rarely works. It rarely works. It usually causes other problems. And then you just think, oh, I have a different problem. But it really originated from that original thing we thought would go away, or we didn't want to deal with, or some people may have taken a medication for something and think that was, well, the numbers look better, so the problem was gone. Well, it wasn't gone. It wasn't gone because the root of it was never addressed. And addressing the root, identifying the root, bringing awareness to that root can allow the healing process to happen. You know, that goes from our perspectives of different aspects of society. You know, if we allow ourselves to bring awareness to what triggers us from different aspects, instead of just allowing ourselves to get that irritation, we can heal those traumas within ourselves and bring ourselves more inner peace, and we can deal with things from a more grounded place of thinking things from the present tense versus being influenced by wounds from the past. So I hope that was helpful. And if these were any things that maybe you found that, oh, I think I can see where I have that and I would like some help with that, you can message me directly or contact me through my website. And if you have any other comments or questions, you can feel free to lay some comments below. And I hope everyone's having a great day. Thank you.